Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. I am incredibly happy to be here tonight. Last night, I was kind of pissed off. Like, sometimes you can let things piss you off, but only if you choose to let them. And a day goes by and they seem so inconsequential to everything else that it puts things in perspective. So I'm in a good place, and I hope you are too. And I'm here at the right time, as you are as well. And thank you for being here. Tonight, my friends, we're going to talk about censorship and the dangers of the bubble. But before we do, we want to welcome some members of our live chat, something we haven't done in quite a long time. Welcome, Patty Wilhelm. Welcome, Karika Joe, Plan D. Brandy Phillips is here. Welcome. And Amy Collins. Hicks is here. That's one of those people. You ever like find out after the fact that somebody that you long since blocked for being a toxic prick is adding you on Twitter or, messaging you and you don't even know, you're invisible. Congratulations. And those of you who know me know it takes an awful lot for me to do that. But welcome, toxic pricks anyway. Welcome, Plan B, Plan D. We mentioned Patty. Sweet Caroline is here. Plan D, good to see you again. Jesse Singer is here. Good to see you. The Sixth Sense is always holding down the peanut gallery, which is... we've really got to come up with a better name for our live chat. Any suggestions, put them in all capital letters. Ashburn is here. Renee Cruz is here. King of Hugo Mundo is here. Regan Havoc, representing area code 215, Philadelphia. Fellow born and raised Philadelphian. In the chat room, Jello Putin is here. Compli Zerd is here. Jake Cole is here. Flynn Kimball is here. Arlene Atkins is here. World in Chaos 76 is here. Randall Hill, Blue Chicken. There's a Blue Chicken in the live chat, which is very, it's sort of appropriate for what we're going to be discussing tonight, because I think that Corey Good's Blue Chicken cult can be used as almost a case study of censorship and living in a bubble. Rorschach Mad is here. Renee Cruz is here. If I repeat you, I apologize. Cosmic Neighbors is here, proving we will let anyone in our live chat. And interestingly, even people who have been so toxic that I have blocked on social media, I still let them in the live chat. First Floor Audio is here. And congratulations, I saw you hit 500 subscribers. Good for you. Keep it going. Tommy Smithleen is here. Welcome. And Josh is here. We have Ronnie Bostic. And wait, I just saw one that I missed. DKG Custom is here. So welcome to every one of you who got here. As I said, you're at the right place, and we are here tonight to talk about something that is increasingly causing me to worry, and that is censorship and those living in the bubble. And you might ask, what is the bubble? Well, the bubble is simply a concept that I have created in my own mind to describe something that is almost indescribable. But we've all been there. Does anybody remember fondly their first time? And I'm not talking about that. I mean, your first time, your first dip into the pool of that bubble. Maybe it was a certain documentary that got you interested in what was inside that bubble. Maybe it was a certain book or hearing a talk that somebody gave on YouTube that pulled you into that bubble. That first time, remember that? And that bubble seems so harmless and enticing at first. And many people, many people, including myself, get involved in UFOs, aliens, and conspiracies. And they find that they like this bubble. Some quickly fall in love with the bubble. The bubble at first is sexy and enticing, offering you the truth, offering you all the answers to all those questions you've always had, giving you an opportunity to peek behind the veil and see the real truth and find out the real truth that you have been searching for. That bubble, so warm, comforting, and inviting at first, it offers you sometimes a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, and a sense of family for some. That bubble at first is irresistible. Like I mentioned, in our first time, we get a little taste at first of what is inside that bubble, and naturally we want more. So we look for more time, more information, more ways to get back to that lovely, warm, comforting bubble. At first, it seems we're free to come and go as we please, in and out of that bubble. And that bubble sure seems harmless at the start. It can be intoxicating, invigorating, and exciting. But that bubble, if we are not careful, can quickly become an obsession. Many get so obsessed with that bubble that they get stuck in it, no longer bothering or caring about venturing out into the real world or spending time in actual reality. Before we know it, we may find ourselves spending more and more time in that comforting bubble. The next thing we know, we realize we've kind of lost track of things in the real world. Other things in our lives may begin to suffer as we begin to retreat more and more into that warm, exciting, invigorating, intoxicating, comforting bubble. That warm, comforting place where we, while inside, can feel special. We may feel in on special secrets that few people know about or have even heard about. We get lost in that wonderful bubble where we can go and perhaps feel better about ourselves or feel better about our lives. We may spend too much time in that bubble, but there in that bubble, we feel like our life has a greater meaning in that bubble. Eventually, we don't want to leave that bubble. We have become so comfortable and numb in there. And that, my friends, is where the true trouble begins. Friends, lately, I have been researching many troubling things and learning more about some people who got so deep in that bubble that reality, the real world, literally ceased to exist for them. And so lately, I have begun to worry. I worry about people who are living a delusion in that bubble, a delusion which must be maintained by ignoring facts and, I suppose, putting blinders on and earplugs, forcing themselves to become deaf and blind to the reality, the real world they no longer want to hear from or even see. I worry about people who don't know that they are being manipulated in that bubble, used and abused, most often for other people's financial gain. I worry about people who so desperately want to believe in certain people in that bubble, so much so that they do so even in the face of overwhelming evidence that that person that they truly want to believe in is just not who they appear or pretend to be. I worry about people who get too far down that rabbit hole into that bubble and literally become stuck there. I worry about people stuck in that rabbit hole, in that bubble, who start to refuse to accept reality because the fictional world that they have surrounded themselves in, that bubble, is simply too enticing to leave. I worry about people who get far too deep into conspiracies and start seeing conspiracies everywhere. And in full disclosure, some may consider me one of those people. I worry about people living their entire lives in a bubble, an artificial dreamland devoid of opposing opinions, devoid of questions worth asking, or even questions at all about what's really going on inside that bubble. I worry about the short term, and I especially worry about the long-term effects of people trapped in a bubble, an artificial construct of fantasy, rewritten history, unproven mythology, and stories that have been twisted, manipulated, and curated, especially for those people in that bubble. These stories that may have once held some truth, but are now so watered down, twisted, manipulated, and evolved that now they no longer have any value anymore or purpose, except one, and that is to keep you in that bubble, waiting for the next story to come along. I worry about the dangers posed by cult-like leaders in this thing, who you dare not question or doubt, lest you face the wrath of their angry mob of cult-like followers. I worry about people who would condone or excuse the behavior I've described, and where their consciences are when people are threatened, intimidated, harassed, doxxed, have their families threatened, and more. I worry about people who have literally murdered people because of their delusions about evil aliens and conspiracies that were carefully spoon-fed to them by selfish, slimy, profiteering merchants of artificial fantasies. I worry about people who ignore reality, instead deciding to stay in their comfortable, carefully protected bubble. I worry about people who remain insulated from a sometimes harsh and sad reality. I worry about people who have lost the ability to face reality because of that bubble. Facing reality now, after all this time in that bubble, facing reality has become impossible for some. I worry about the victims of the profiteering cult-like leaders who always need more money or have something new to sell you while you're stuck in that bubble. And some of these victims, I hear from many of them, and they're often on disability or Social Security or have some very low fixed income. I worry about those victims who have become so obsessed with this fantastical but very fake world some of these cult leaders offer them. I worry about those who go too far, paying to fuel their fantasies and stay in that bubble, including people who have written to me because they paid $333 for a course that they were sure they needed right away to help them with the very soon coming ascension, even when they didn't really have that kind of money. I have talked to people who have literally almost been evicted from their homes because instead of paying their bills with their limited income, they were paying these cult-like leaders, paying to continue the fantasy, paying so that they could stay in that bubble. I worry about these cult-like charismatic leaders and wonder why they don't seem to care about their victims or the damage they cause to those people they have pulled into that bubble. I worry about consequences, real-world consequences for those who choose to stay in that bubble, who become obsessed with that bubble and decide that that bubble is where they belong somehow. I worry about people, especially who have gone so deep down the rabbit hole and filled their lives with an obsession of staying in this bubble and continuing their so-called journey, that they hurt themselves, their family members, and God forbid, in some cases, have murdered people because of this bubble. I thought we could talk for a bit about some of the censorship that has been going on in this conspiracy land community for quite a long time. And it's unfortunate, but this censorship is damaging. This censorship is one of the huge problems. It creates huge problems because people get in this bubble and either through their own desire or through the desire of these cult-like leaders who are leeching every cent they can from some of these people, keeping them chasing the carrot. Disclosure's going to come any day now. Ascension's coming any day now. All of these people, I hear from many of them, and I worry about this situation and the censorship. I talked about this bubble and the delusion and the delusional world that some people are simply drawn to and wish to remain in. Myself, I have talked to many, many people from all different spectrums here in conspiracy land, from true believers in all kinds of strange or esoteric things like aliens and alien abductions, visitation, ancient alien theory. And I've talked to many, many people who have become so obsessed with their belief system that they refuse to allow anyone to challenge their already accepted belief system. And that's a big problem. But part of this problem is generated by these cult-like leaders who are using these people, manipulating these people, and extracting money from these people. They want you to stay in that bubble. They don't want you to hear outside opinions, to hear criticism, to hear questions that should be asked. And that, my friends, is something that these UFO hucksters, and let's paint with a broad brush. It's not just UFO hucksters, it's conspiracy hucksters, it's letter of the alphabet conspiracy hucksters, it's secret space hucksters, it's new age hucksters, psychic hucksters. They all want the people who have an interest to remain in that bubble. And they have a financial motive to keep you in that bubble, because the longer you are in that bubble, the longer they will be able to use you, manipulate you, and extract every cent from you that they can. They don't want you to venture outside the bubble. They don't want you to be able to hear questions that need to be asked about claims they are making. They want you to remain deaf, dumb, and blind. There are people right now in the so-called UFO community who are actively doing everything they can to censor anyone from even being able to ask questions about the information that they are presenting as factual and true. And friends, I'm here to tell you that the truth is always the truth. The truth can be questioned, scrutinized. The truth can be discussed. The truth can be debated. The truth can be argued about. And the truth will remain the truth. So you must ask yourself if these people, these hucksters who claim they are bringing you true information, are doing actively everything they can to prevent you from being able to even hear people asking questions about the information they are presenting. What does that say about the veracity and the truthfulness of their so-called true stories? This thing is a cancer. Censorship is a cancer on free speech. It is a cancer on the free flow of information. It is a cancer of the intellect, and it only exists if we let it. Now, there's only so many things that a person can do. I myself, as you can well imagine, have been banned, blocked, censored, muted from many, many different platforms. And why? Because I asked the wrong questions. Some, realizing that I'm right to ask these questions, may say that I asked the right questions to be banned, but the wrong questions that they don't want their followers hearing. Those who cannot answer, those who fear questions, I'm a big believer in this statement. The only people who fear questions, my friends, are people with something to hide. Why then do some of these guru people that are going to bring us disclosure and the truth about aliens, why then do so many of them go to such great lengths to censor anyone from asking questions, to censor people from pointing out the ridiculousness of some of the information that they are presenting as true and factual. Why did they go to such great lengths to censor me for example, pointing out this is not a real picture of an alien. This is a picture that was generated by a CGI artist. If the person claiming they were showing you a real picture of an alien were really showing you a real picture of an alien, they wouldn't mind me. But I suppose it's rather inconvenient, and it bursts the bubble. They don't want anyone coming in and bursting that bubble for their followers. They have a vested financial motive to keep people in that bubble and to prevent people from asking questions, pointing out that the so-called true information that they are offering you isn't factual and is largely manufactured and untrue, or easily, in some cases, proven to be not true, not factual, not reliable information, but rather disinformation, fairy tales, carefully constructed hoaxes designed to make money off of people in that bubble. No, they want you to remain in that bubble. Now, I should mention that we have tried very hard here to not be a bubble. And in fact, we welcome opposing viewpoints. We only have a very simple request here, and that is to be respectful. We encourage people to have a discussion, to agree, to disagree, to agree to disagree. And that, my friends, I believe is the healthiest way to go about this. It is not healthy to live in a bubble. And I myself find myself going, I have to get some opposing viewpoints. And I welcome that. So, believers are welcome here. Skeptics are welcome here. Anyone in between is welcome here. You're free to ask me any question you like. I will never shy away from people asking me questions, as long as you do so respectfully. That's all we ask here. Be respectful of each other. Be respectful of the guests. Be respectful of yes, even me. And, I get it that it appears to me that some people are unaware that there is still free speech channels like ours. There is still free speech zones. We're not going to ban you because you disagree with me. We're not going to ban you because you think I got a fact wrong and you're correcting me. We're not going to ban you because you think a guest is full of it. Just express that respectfully, because the guests do come here, volunteer their time and their energy and their knowledge. So we try to be respectful of those guests. But you can say, I don't believe that this person is being truthful in the live chat, or I don't believe this person's story. That's perfectly acceptable. It's perfectly okay. Go try that on some other channels. Those echo chambers that we've talked about, those channels that are manipulating you. If they're not letting people ask questions that need to be asked or should be asked, then they are manipulating you. But most of them don't want to talk about that. So I do have a list, and yeah, we name names here, and sorry, not sorry. The first that we want to start with is someone we covered recently, Linda Moulton Howe, who you may remember that we here at Truth Seekers caught Linda Moulton Howe selling not one, but two completely, totally fake made up stories that were based on completely and totally fake pictures of aliens. In one case, it was a 2005 video game cover called Area 51. And in another case, we covered it. It was a Brazilian artist who did a web series and created some fake pictures of aliens. Now, the response of Linda Moulton Howe, instead of I apologize that I told everybody that these pictures were real aliens when it's easy to determine they were fake, instead of just apologizing and moving forward and just taking the criticism that is, and by the way, criticism over doing something like that and making thousands of dollars doing it is deserved. That's a deserved criticism. You earned that criticism for doing something so slimy. You can't, blame people for being critical of you when you do slimy things and get caught. The proper and right thing to do, and this is my opinion, take from it what you will, when you really make a mistake, is admit your mistake, apologize for it sincerely, think about what you did and why it was wrong and how it may have hurt people or whatever, and move on. Make peace with the fact that you're human and you're going to do things wrong, but not these UFO cult leaders. No, I have almost never, ever seen any of them admit when they were caught dead to rights selling a fake story. And one may be aware that we have caught more UFO hucksters selling 100% completely fake stories than probably anyone on planet Earth. It's kind of our thing here. But the fact that we have caught so many of them selling 100% fake story, and not once, friends, in 8 years now, have we caught someone where they went, yeah, you're right, I got it wrong. Even that far. Like, not only do they not admit in some cases that they have manufactured or faked evidence that they could use in their fake story, but I mean, even just to say, hey, I got it wrong. No, almost never. The usual thing that cosmic cons do is they blame someone else, or they simply ignore all the criticism. That's another part of this echo chamber bubble. It's not just a bubble of the audience. The bubble is also the personalities at the center. They're in their own bubble because apparently, like Linda Moulton Howe, for example, she was asked on Theories of Everything, our question, why did you use a provably fake picture of an alien? She lost her mind. She took it as offensive. She told the person that asked her the question that was hostile. Apparently, asking somebody why you used a completely provably fake picture of an alien to sell your audience a fake story about aliens is hostile now. Does this sound cult-like to anyone else? Because it does to me. So I'm going to share my screen because we're going to talk about what just happened, because I think this more than anything shows you that this bubble theory is not just a theory. People live in their own bubbles, and they want their audience to live in that bubble too. They don't want people going outside the bubble for other information. They want to be, famously, Corey Goode has said that all other secret space guys are frauds except him. And he's the only one that you should get your secret space program information from. Translation, don't buy any of the other guys' crap, only buy my crap. They're all fakes, but I'm real. In Linda Moulton Howe's case, she wants only very, very loyal people now listening and watching her. But, I think this is going to backfire. So what we see here is Linda Moulton Howe's most recent broadcast. And here, listen, friends, this is where it gets crazy. You want to talk about a bubble? You want to talk about creating a bubble around yourself? This, my friends, is the perfect example of someone that is desperate to insulate themselves from any criticism, good or bad. And, in full disclosure, I support people going in their live chat and asking important questions that need to be asked. But this last fake story, 100% fake story that we caught her selling, I think it was difficult for her because there's people in her live chat commenting left and right. The picture's fake. Truth Seekers proved it. The picture's fake. Truth Seekers interviewed the artist from Brazil who made that picture. It's not a real alien. You can see that she got hammered in her live chat. So instead of addressing the controversy and moving on, apologizing, whatever, what Linda Moulton Howe has now decided to do is completely and totally insulate her from anybody that will be critical. Here it says, subscribers only mode. Messages that appear are from people who subscribe to this channel for, get this, 15 years or longer. Friends, YouTube has only been a website for 18 years. So apparently, in order to be able to chat in Linda Moulton Howe's live chat now, you need to have signed up for YouTube just a few years after it began. That's right. You have to be a member of her channel for 15 years or longer. Now, that, my friends, is what you call insulating yourself from criticism. I can't think of a more drastic way, other than just turning the whole live chat off, that she could insulate herself anymore and live in her bubble where no one can criticize her, no one critical of her can ask questions, no one can, point out if she's, selling garbage, as I believe she often does. Nobody is allowed to do that unless you've been a member of her channel for 15 years. And I just wanted to say, this is going to backfire, and she is going to change her mind, because in limiting this, she just cut off almost everyone who wants to send her money. And for that, I'm happy. And in fact, somebody sent me this screenshot, and I jokingly put a meme GIF up that said, I did that. This is a direct result of the criticism that was levied at her over the fake story we caught her in. That's my belief and speculation, and I'm entitled to it. She's never taken this draconian, drastic of a move to insulate herself from anyone asking questions. But I think now, having had us caught her twice, dead to rights, 100% shoveling garbage, disinformation, fake information, she doesn't want to risk that happening again, or people being able to influence the people watching her by commenting on things in the live chat that should be commented over. So, let me know what you think in the live chat. Is this a drastic move? Is this going to backfire on her? Because now all those people that used to go in her live chat and send her money, they're not going to be able to do it. If they can't get in the live chat, they can't send money. I think she's forgetting that important part. Or maybe she cares more about staying in that bubble, and she's willing to just give up the money that she would get ordinarily. Another part of the delusion. Who gives up free money? It's free money for her. I mean, granted, she has to be there and talk about something, but it's literally free money. She's willing to just give up all kinds of free money so that people can't ask her questions, so that people can't criticize her, so that people can't question the so-called factual evidence that she is sharing with people. Now, along with Linda Moulton Howe, I did say we're going to name names tonight. The other person that I would caution you is the most censored live chat in conspiracy land is Jimmy Church. Go while Jimmy Church is interviewing one of these fraudsters into his live chat and start asking questions. See how long it is before you are blocked, muted, silenced, whatever. And that, my friends, it says a lot about the channel, and it says a lot about the show host on that channel. It says a lot about the person running the channel, that they just will not allow you to ask questions of their guests. Now, again, I want to be very clear. We allow you to ask any questions you want here, but please be respectful. That's all I ask. Occasionally, somebody has been kind of nasty or rude to a guest. We try to discourage that. Guests are nice enough to come here. They deserve our respect. Jimmy Church bans anybody, blocks how many people in the live chat mention if you've been blocked by Jimmy Church? You can't even joke with the guy, right? You can't even joke. You can't joke with the guy. He gets offended. And, I was reading a little bit about people who refuse any criticism whatsoever. And what psychology says about that is it's people with very low self-esteem. And then I kind of like that idea, because honestly, I think I have a good a good level of self-esteem. I'm willing to let people ask me questions. I'm willing to, answer anything that people want to ask me. I have no problems with that whatsoever. It's interesting that a lot of psychologists believe that people who are unwilling or unable to accept, and these are people on the extreme, they don't want to accept any criticism at all, they have extremely low self-esteem. Interesting thing to think about. So, Complizert with a kind and generous, is that £3 for some vanilla pistachios for my Bruddy Spooky? All right. Well, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. And I don't want to, I want to make sure that we recognize the live chat. Another thing I've noticed about those bubble channels is many of them don't even thank the live chat participants. They don't thank the super chatters. They just take the money and run. We here, we try to make sure that we read every single super chat sent in. We also have one from Jesse Singer who says, respect Stephen, hail the king of UFO debunk. If only that were true, but thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and Complizert for some vanilla pistachios for my Bruddy Spooky. Thank you guys both for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. I'll have to see if Jesse, if yours is too far back, I might not be able to put it on the screen, but thank you nonetheless. And we thank people for their kindness, their generosity, and support. Yeah, it's too far back. Jesse Singer must have been at the beginning of the show. So you'll have to just take my thanking you very much. Oh, it's euros. Okay, well, thank you very much. And Spooky is here, says that's his personal account. This chat is open and Pix is free to speak. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're getting back to this controversy, and while we're on that subject, oh, you know what? I'm not even gonna go into that. We're gonna do that on another show. I talked about this bubble. It's interesting that people have to manipulate and massage data to fit their bubble. So, a recent statement was made about a certain individual in UFO land, a news article, and all the people that hate him, they found a reason to manipulate and massage the data into saying, well, see, that proves he was a liar somehow. And all the people that are huge believers and supporters, they found a way to say, see, that means he told the truth about everything. No, telling the truth about one thing does not mean that the guy told the truth about everything, right? I don't understand how that works. So like, okay, we have confirmation that this guy told the truth about one thing. So suddenly that somehow means that he told the truth about everything he's ever said to us. I don't buy it. Sorry. Complizert with a kind of generous $10 says €10. Now I know that's a euro symbol. I'm sorry. I'm a little visually impaired, so it's hard to see those symbols sometimes. Complizert, longtime show supporter, $10 for your realness, Stephen. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. It is much, much appreciated. So back to Jimmy Church. Jimmy Church blocks anybody that asks a question. Jimmy Church mutes people in his live chat constantly. You can't go in there when he's interviewing one of the, let's just say, less than credible people that he often interviews and ask questions. They mute you, delete you from the channel, whatever. You can't do that. And I think that says a lot. Again, let's go back to this concept that the truth is the truth. If somebody is on Jimmy Church's show telling you the truth, asking them questions won't change the fact that they're telling the truth. Debating their ideas or information presented won't change the fact that they're telling the truth if they're telling the truth. Discussion about the whatever they're talking about, if it's the truth, discussion about that truth won't change the fact that it's still truth. So what is Jimmy Church afraid of? He's afraid. He's afraid, friends. He's terrified that if he lets people in there to ask real questions that need to be asked, that may burst the bubble of some of his listeners and supporters. And he can't have that. So what does he do? He carefully curates that live chat. He carefully curates his Twitter feed. He deletes anybody that disagrees with him. That's another thing. You know, disagreements are healthy. Good ones, you know, not toxic, crazy. You know, if you're having a disagreement and people start fist fighting, that's not a disagreement. That's a fight. I mean, a disagreement. You know, some of my best friends in life, I can disagree with, and we're still good. And isn't that the healthy way to do things? But for these UFO hucksters, you cannot disagree. You can't. You can't disagree with them. They won't allow it. They will purge you from their existence. And I think it's interesting that many of these things that we're talking about have parallels in cults. We have seen this cult-like behavior that's been going on lately. One example that I could think of is what happens when a person leaves a cult, a bad cult. They get attacked. They get demonized. People say they're the bad guy. It's not our cult that's the bad thing. It's that person that left that now disagrees with us. Who attacks people who leave groups usually? A cult. So there are some real parallels and cult-like behavior going on. One of the best examples that I could think of is this, what is it? Lou Angeles or Jimenez from this unidentified celebrity review. This guy is now, you know, I'm going to apologize for anything that I said previously. I'm trying to accept the things that I can't change. And that guy did many things I didn't like. And I can't change that. And I can't control his choices. Everybody makes their own choices in life. So I apologize for anything I ever said that he found fault with. And I'd like to move on, especially considering I think he's a perfect case study for what we're talking about tonight. Because Lou Jimenez Angeles from Unidentified Celebrity Review was in the cult of Lou Elizondo. Now, people can argue it's not a cult. He was a true believer in this man, Lou Elizondo. Changed his whole life to help Lou with his mission. This is cult-like behavior. And while Lou Angeles Jimenez, and by the way, somebody should let me know what he prefers to be called because names are important. And I'm saying both because I'm not sure, honestly. Anyway, he was close to Lou. And while he was in with the cult of Lou Elizondo, he was in their good graces. They rewarded him for his helping them. And you may also be aware that cults demand that you offer your time, money, and passion, talents, whatever you have to help the cult. And certainly it can be argued that Lou Angeles Jimenez from Unidentified Celebrity Review put a great deal of his time, energy, and whatever into helping Lou Elizondo, into helping that group around Lou Elizondo. Lou Angeles may right now be suffering from, I don't know what to call it, leaving a cult syndrome. We've seen these people. So after a disagreement with the fearless leader, Lou Elizondo, Lou Angeles has become demonized by that same group. After all he did to help Lou Elizondo, after all he did, all the time, energy, and passion that he put into trying to help Lou with this sacred mission, he is a victim of a cult-like group, which is why I'm apologizing to him because, you know, I have a friend who went through a similar situation. He was all in on a cult, my friend, all in, all chips in. And we can see that Lou from UCR was all chips in on this Lou Elizondo thing. He was willing to do anything, including, and this, again, this is something I disagree with, but I have to be honest, giving Lou 7 softball interviews where they failed to ask any important questions, he was willing to let himself be used as a mouthpiece and an echo chamber for Lou and whatever Lou wanted to talk about. And he was used by Lou Elizondo, and some would say the cult of Lou Elizondo. And upon doing something that they found fault with, suddenly Lou from UCR, this unidentified celebrity review, is now the devil to those people. Have you noticed how badly that guy got demonized? And what happened exactly? One of the show hosts asked one question, one of his co-hosts, I should say, rather be squidding, asked one question that Lou did not like. But it was a real question. And in my view and estimation, having listened to all those interviews that Lou from UCR did with Lou Elizondo, that was the only real question that was ever asked of Lou Elizondo by that show in 14 hours of interview. 14 hours of interview and one question is enough to flip off the cult leader Lou Elizondo and to apparently, or in my opinion, see, this is where it gets tricky, because did Lou Elizondo sick everybody on Lou from UCR? Did Elizondo direct people to harass him, threaten him, intimidate him constantly all day on social media for days on end, weeks on end, months on end? I think it's still going on. And you know, I did, in full disclosure, I did say some not nice things about this Lou from UCR situation, which, again, I'm apologizing for here and now. What I said was, welcome to the party, pal, because I have been getting personally threatened, intimidated, harassed. Some would say cyberbullied. I've been doxxed. My family has been threatened. People came in my live chat and threatened a family member of mine by name. And all of this has been going on with me since 2016, when I first questioned Lou Elizondo's narrative. And, you know, I'm human. I was kind of pissed off at this guy because he got huge benefits from being in the cult. And now that he's out and he's feeling some negative effects, you know, I felt like he was complaining. But then I looked more deeply into the situation. He has a right to complain. They have no right to do what they're doing to him, just as they have no right to dox me. Do you know that people sent me emails that read like this? Hey, Stephen, we know you live at Redacted. It would be a shame if something really terrible happened to Redacted, and Redacted, my family's names, right? People went as far as to stalk my family on social media sites and send me pictures of my own family. It has gotten incredibly toxic, vicious, nasty, and out of hand. Just last night, one of these brainwashed cult idiots decided to once again lie through their teeth to try to turn people against me, to try to discredit me, to damage my reputation. It doesn't work. They've already done it. Yeah, how many times are you going to lie to people and tell people I'm a criminal? You've already did that. You've played that card. People know, by the way, that I'm not a criminal. And by the way, the one thing I will say on that situation, and this is the last time I'm ever going to bring it up, is that my own resume proves that I'm not a criminal. Because before starting my business that I currently run, worked in corporate America for Fortune 500 companies. One of the companies I worked for was Yellow Book Incorporated. Look it up. Yeah, the people who make Yellow Pages. Monstrous, huge company. And there I was a corporate credit manager. And while there, I had access to thousands. Some might say tens of thousands, probably tens of thousands. I had access to thousands and thousands and thousands of customers' credit card numbers with the CV on the back and all that. Friends, my own resume confirms that I can't be a felon because they don't give jobs like that to felons. You have to pass background checks. And if you have a criminal conviction in your background, you don't get access to tens of thousands of customers' credit card numbers. You don't get a job as a corporate credit manager for a Fortune 500 company. It doesn't happen. That's not the reality that we live in. You know, I live on planet Earth where there's some rules of Earth and life. Like if someone's a convicted felon, nobody in a Fortune 500 company is giving them access to tens of thousands of customers' sensitive financial information. It doesn't happen. So, but people are free to, you know, slander me, whatever, you know. If your listeners are that stupid that they're going to believe you with no, and by the way, if you're going to say that somebody has a criminal record, show it, put it on the screen, bitch. Put my criminal record on the screen, you bitch. But they can't because it doesn't exist. All right, off on a tangent. So back to this Los Angeles situation. He has suffered a tremendous amount of damage to his personal life. I'm sure to his finances because, hey, people are saying, and I'm just repeating what people are saying. I'm not saying I believe this, but people are saying that Los Angeles turned on Lou Elizondo. He's a traitor. How dare you? And so a great many of his viewers probably left. And that comes with some financial, you know, consequences. I'm sure it's not been easy for him and his family and all that stuff. It's terrible what's going on. But this is a perfect example of the cult-like behavior. Does it sound rational to you that suddenly this guy is the devil himself when he used to be their buddies over one question the guy didn't like? That's how insulated these people are. That's how this bubble works. Lou Angeles and his co-hosts dared to pop that bubble with one question. And only that bubble of Lou Elizondo's is so fragile, and perhaps his ego is so fragile that it only took a bubble, a tiny poke. That's it. One question, boop, and Lou Elizondo lost his goddamn mind. And suddenly the whole cult of Lou starts coming down on this show host that used to be their best friend, right? And look how they're accusing Lou Angeles of turning on Lou Elizondo. No, I'm pretty sure it was the other way around, dude. But that's my opinion, and yours may differ. So this bubble that is created here is apparently very fragile. And this is how insulated, like I said, they're so insulated. He can't take one real question after 14 hours of, no offense, Lou Angeles, but Lou Angeles gave Lou Elizondo 14 hours of softball questions, right? Maybe not 14 hours, 7 interviews. I think they were 2-hour interviews. I don't know. He gave him a softball. And what happens? I don't even think that was a hard ball. It was a medium ball. And Lou Elizondo loses his goddamn mind, right? And suddenly that show is the devil. And then again, here we go with the cult-like behavior. Now, the believers of Lou Elizondo, by the way, here's how you could tell that Lou Elizondo is running a cult. Someone actually referred to myself and Manny from Area 503 and some other guy as anti-Louites. So wait, this is the first I'm hearing of it. There's Louites and anti-Louites. So one of the true believers of Lou Elizondo, card-carrying ass licker of Lou Elizondo, you know, the guy responsible for my family getting threatened and doxxed and running around telling everybody I'm a criminal, you know, that clown said that me and anyone really, I guess, opposed or asking questions, we're anti-Louites. Does this sound cult-like to you yet? The supporters of Lou are Louites. The people who are asking questions are anti-Louites. Okay. That's a little culty, don't you think? And, you know, so, and again, what happens is here in this Lou Elizondo believer bubble, all the people that support Lou Elizondo and think he's the greatest thing are telling everybody, don't watch that show run by that traitor, Lou Jimenez Angeles from Unidentified Celebrity Review. Don't watch that show. He turned on Lou Elizondo. I have screenshots of this shit. People telling people you can't trust them because they turned on Lou Elizondo. This, my friends, is exact to the behavior of a cult. You may have heard similar things. Like somebody leaves Scientology, suddenly they're a suppressive person. Lou Angeles from Unidentified Celebrity Review has become a suppressive person to the Louites. I can't believe we have a term for it now. So, you know, I can list off many other people here in UFO land, like David Wilcock and Corey Goode, whose egos are equally as fragile as apparently Lou Elizondo's is, and don't allow criticism, don't allow anybody to ask questions, don't allow any of their followers outside of the bubble. And friends, is it me or somebody telling you who you should or shouldn't listen to? Or in at least a few cases that I have found, people telling people who they can and cannot listen to or watch on YouTube. That, my friends, is cult. That's what a cult does. They control the flow of information. They want to keep you deaf, dumb, and blind to what's really going on. Scientology famously doesn't allow people to look up anything about them on the internet. Now, you can guess why. Why are Louites telling people what shows people are or are not allowed to listen to? Are you that afraid of what they may hear here or on other shows that ask questions? That's what it is. They are so afraid of us, and I love it. You're so afraid. I have screenshots of people telling Louites telling people they're not allowed to watch my show or they shouldn't watch my show. Don't even give them a view. Don't give them a click. Who cares what he's talking about? And in many, many cases, I'm not talking about Lou Elizondo. We cover many, many people and subjects here. But people are still telling people, don't watch him because I dared to ask questions. And by the way, that's my job. The job of, I don't know what I am here, show host, reporter, researcher, whatever, all the above. At times, it's my job to ask questions. If I'm not asking questions, I'm not doing a very good job. But that's another thing we see. We see the UFO circle jerk. Oh, I love these circle jerkers. It's a bad hobby of mine to tune in and see how stupid they are. How many of these UFO shows are completely and totally circle jerking their guests? They have guests on all the time. They all have guests on all the time. They've been caught faking things, caught lying, fake educations. Maybe they're former criminals, whatever. Not a single question about any of that. No, you just give them the circle jerk and don't ask any hard questions. You get the views and you help that UFO celebrity to maintain the bubble. And these people, to me, are despicable. Do your job. Ask some hard questions, right? Research the guest before the guest comes on. Know their history and ask the questions that it's your job to ask. I just don't see that. I just don't see any of that. And you know what? Here's another thing. I don't really generally look at other people's shows, but I started to for various reasons last, 3 or 4 days. And all that did was piss me off because what I found out was it doesn't matter if you do excellent research, if you always have good information to share, if you have really credible guests, if you really ask the tough questions. It doesn't matter. You can get more views and more subscribers by just sitting there like a dummy and letting people tell fairy tales. And that bothers me. It bothers me so much. But I am very happy to say that I'm trying to adapt and overcome right? Maybe it's my ego. Maybe I have an ego too, probably. I mean, everybody has an ego, but some people have an unhealthy ego. But lately, with my newfound sobriety, by the way, I am at 79 days without any alcohol today and feeling good about that. But I've been thinking, I went and looked at some of these other shows and looked at numbers. That's what really did it. I lost my goddamn mind seeing some of these people peddling garbage, doing what I perceive to be so much better than me. But then I realized two things. One, I say this serenity prayer every day. Some of you may be familiar with it. and it goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I can't change the way the world is. People don't want the truth. They want lies and fairy tales. It's so much better. Reality sucks. Remember, we talked about this bubble. People get in this bubble because it's awesome. Reality is sad and tragic and depressing, right? Things aren't getting better in the world of reality. So that bubble offers us an escape. And I get that people want that. And I really don't know what to do lately with my own situation. Like, I expressed to a friend that sometimes I just want to say, I'm done. I had enough of this, and get out of the bubble. I've settled for learning to escape that bubble and, spend more time in the real world. And I encourage all of you to do that. Nobody ever said, on our deathbeds, nobody on their deathbed ever said, I wish I had spent more time watching UFO documentaries or reading books about conspiracies and UFOs. I doubt you're going to think that. So I for one, have learned to try to spend more time in reality. But like many, has been an escape for me all through the pandemic. I don't want to think about that. I want to think about other things. It allowed me to get my mind off of things. It does have some benefits. Just don't get lost in it, is what I'm saying. But back to the serenity prayer, there's some things I cannot change. Found a lot of fault with that guy Lou from Unidentified Celebrity. I just disagree with a lot of stuff that he did. And maybe there's some jealousy there. Okay, I'm human, and I guess I feel like I have this moral high ground. Like, well, I didn't take those shortcuts, and I didn't do that to get ahead, and I didn't. To me, he bent over for Lou Elizondo. Pardon the expression. He bent over. I didn't bend over for anybody here. So I get bitter. I get angry. But I can't change the choices that other people make, right? And as a Christian, I'm supposed to forgive him, right? So I do. And I hope he forgives me for anything I said that offended him. I'm human. But lately, I guess the fact that I've already gone through what he's going through right now sort of humanized him for me. It's like, oh, maybe we're not so different. You spoke, but boy, he's learning now, right? And then again, I felt kind of jealous and bitter. I'm like, stop bitching. Stop crying, Lou. Like, I've been going through this since 2016, when I first started questioning this person. But again, I'm trying to learn to accept the things I can't change. And I can't change other people's decisions or whatever. I can try to learn from them, and that's what I'm trying to do here. And I'm trying to forgive and move on and focus on better things, because all those negative emotions doesn't do you any good, right? I mean, we've all been vengeful or hateful or jealous or really depressed or really sad. All these negative emotions don't enhance your life. They make your life worse. So the quicker I suppose you can learn to let go of those things, and I ask anybody that knows me, I'm very quick to anger, but I'm also very quick to forgive and move on, and sometimes you just got to turn the page. So going forward, I'm not really going to be looking at any other shows' numbers. I'm not really even going to be that concerned with mine. I'm going to be concerned with moving forward. And we've got a lot of new plans for what we're going to do here. And some of those things are designed so that I can stay sane. and stay, at least for the immediate future, I'm planning on staying sober. So I'm trying to avoid things that will trigger me to, go back to drinking as a self-medication. Because what I'm finding out now, 79 days sober, is it's tough. It's a tough time for me right now, because here's what happens: you quit self-medicating. In my case, it was alcohol that I was self-medicating far too much with, and I recently learned and figured out that once that self-medication goes away, now you got to deal with whatever you were self-medicating yourself for. You got to deal with all those issues that caused you to do that in the first place, cause that behavior, cause you to want an escape. Alcohol is a bubble too. It's the same thing. It's intoxicating. It's exciting. It's better than reality while you're drinking, right? Reality sucks. Let's drink a 12-pack and blast some music, right? Or whatever. But what I'm learning is that you have to deal with those things that were causing you to self-medicate. One of the things I've realized is, like, I have a lot of anxiety, so I stress about this thing, right? And that would cause me to drink a lot. Like, oh, I don't even want to think about the show, so let's just, obliterate yourself and inebriate yourself to the point where you forget about it for a while. It's not healthy. It's not good. So, I want to make sure that I do my best to try to avoid triggering myself. I don't want to worry about this. To be honest with you, this is, I'm almost laughing sometimes at things that used to really bother me. They just don't bother me now. It's like there's more important things. I have family. I have a business here. Besides this, I have things that I should be doing. And you got to find a balance. So I would encourage everybody to get outside of that bubble, especially, and do not accept someone telling you you're not allowed to ask questions. Do not accept someone telling you that you can't criticize their information, especially if it's fake information that they're presenting as true. I think that free speech is so important, and anybody that tries to take that away from you is doing so for a nefarious reason. When in the history of the world has anyone taken away anyone's rights, whether it be free speech or guns or anything, unless they wanted to take advantage of those people? The first thing that many dictators do is take away rights. They take away freedom of the press. They take away freedom of speech. They certainly take away freedom to arm yourself, because they want to manipulate you and make it easy to control you. And it's interesting to me that in a so-called truther community, people that claim to be out there looking for the truth are people that are willing to just absolutely extinguish people's free speech. It makes no sense to me. If you're really after the truth, you got to wait. Nobody's allowed to ask questions. And I can give you an awful lot of examples. One that comes to mind is the Corey Good cult. Do you know that for a time, people were in Corey Good's inner circle were told, and this is reported to me by several sources, so I can say this with a very good degree of certainty. In Corey Good's inner circle for a time, people were told who they could and could not speak to. People were told what YouTube personalities they were allowed to watch or not watch. People were told who they were not supposed to speak to or talk to anymore. So in other words, if somebody got in the bad graces of, the all-powerful leader, Corey Good, some direction would be taken that you can't talk to that person anymore. And people did it. That's the scary part. But there is something called group dynamics, and I encourage you to look it up, because until I studied group dynamics, I didn't really understand this whole cult thing very well. Like, why would somebody do that? Tell him to go fuck himself, right? No, group dynamics. There have been experiments done. You may remember, a famous one where like 6 people are standing there and they asked 5 of them, what color is that? And it was clearly red, and they would say blue. And when 5 people in the line say blue, the last person is looking at it, they say blue too. It's group dynamics and group think. But interestingly, Corey Good's, cult sort of fell apart in my view. But before it did, when it was at its height, Corey Good was doing things like recording people's spouses secretly, sending someone to go ask someone's spouse what they thought of Corey Good. Did they believe his story? Do they support him? While recording that person without their knowledge. And then that tape would be taken back to Corey Good, who would then, after listening to it, go to their spouse and say, you better straighten out your husband because he's not a supporter of mine. That is cult-like crazy behavior. And it's not just Corey Good. We see that with multiple personalities in this thing. So we have to be very, very cautious. World in Chaos 76 with Kind and Generous 1999 says, praise the cash and congrats on the sobriety, my friend. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and continued support. And everybody go check out the Mothership podcast. Thank you very much for your kindness. I wish you all the success in the world with your show. I'm always happy to see when somebody that's been in my live chat starts going off and starting their own show, and we're going to have her as a guest, right? So we're going to take comments and questions from the live chat. Some of you know that I'm a little visually impaired, and it really does help for you to put your questions for me in all capital letters or comments you want me to share on the screen so that I can quickly identify that you want me to share that. Mysterious Moonbasis says, truth, I was an alcoholic for 20 years. I've been sober about 4 years. It gets to the point you lose count of days and it gets easier. Keep pushing, brother. Yeah, thank you, Mysterious Moonbasis. Well, I honestly, I'm still on the fence about whether I will ever drink again. Part of me thinks I got a good thing going here. Just don't go back to drinking. And the other part of me thinks I may go back to occasional drinking, but I certainly will never drink every day like I was for the past 2 years. That causes a lot of damage to your personal life. It causes a lot of damage to your health. And by the way, I'm still fat from drinking too much and eating too much during the pandemic, trying to work on that. I'm about 10 pounds down, got another 10 to go. So I haven't decided. I may go back, but, most of me thinks that's probably a bad idea. David Bucky says, I personally don't like it. It makes me feel slow and paranoid and not laugh anymore. Marius Taco says, use benzos because my doc told me because I had OCD and depression and I needed help. And it works for me. Just use it in balance. Well, that's we don't give any medical advice here, but I appreciate that people are trying to give people advice here in the live chat. Spooky says, true story, but I'm not sure what that true story is. The sex bots have arrived, though I can tell you that from looking at the live chat, but our moderators are working diligently to delete all the porn bots, right? And some of you are asking, why are there porn bots here? I don't know. There's porn bots. There's porn bots on almost every channel lately. And John Griffin says, go one day at a time. That's how they say it is done. And Rorschach Mad says, sober for a long time. Good for you. Burns Eye, Mind's Eye, Science Guy says, I quit drinking 5 years ago. You mean you quit drinking alcohol? He's still drinking like weird alchemical shit. He's going to die. Does anybody remember? Burns Eye, Mind's Eye, Science Guy is a modern day alchemist. So he comes on this show with this shit in beakers and bottles, and it looked like piss in a bottle to me, honestly. Anyway, he starts drinking this chemical concoction live on air. What was that? Was it like monatomic silver or gold, I think? Yeah. So he still drinks that, just not alcohol. But good for you. I'm very glad for you. Yeah. What do I think about the Wilcox Mandela effect? There's definitely something to the Mandela effect. We can all think of examples, right? Where do you see the field being in 10 years? Probably exactly where we are. What I predict is 10 years from now, maybe people will be saying disclosure's coming any day now. And wait till you hear this next new drop. And There's whistleblowers that are coming forward. And by the way, in full disclosure, pardon the pun, I hope there are whistleblowers coming forward that are going to talk about crashed alien retrievals and back engineering alien technology that we recovered from alien spaceship crashes. That would be awesome. That would make the world so much better and more interesting if that were revealed. I really, really hope that it happens, right? Mario says, I had a problem with the weight and beers in the quarantine. Yeah, a lot of people did. It wasn't good for a lot of us, right? Hey, Stephen, could you do a show on Peter Thiel stuff on islands and stuff? Yes, on my list, Complete Zared. And as you are a longtime show supporter, I will make a note right now. I have him already on my list, but I will make a note right now. We will raise Peter Thiel in the queue and try to do a show on that. Lord Ludicrous, kind and generous $1.99. Great show tonight. Congrats on your sobriety. Well, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support. King of Hugo Mundo says that Burns Eye Mind's Eye was drinking gasoline. Pragmagic says, congrats on your sobriety, dude. Yeah, and congrats to you as well. It's a good thing. So far, the only downside I see is that I do miss it sometimes. I've been very lucky, though, up until recently, and I've heard this from a friend of mine. He's like, yeah, around that 90-day mark, you're going to really start having cravings. I haven't had almost any until right about this last week. And then I started feeling like, I could really use a six-pack. Oh, maybe I should go to the bar. Oh, but you know what I do? I beat my demons back and try to do something more constructive and to get my mind off of it. One of my visitors is here and says, what are your thoughts on Secure Team 10? Well, I'm not a supporter of his because he has been caught faking things just as much as Third Phase of Moon. And I'm sure that some people may recall that I've said that Third Phase of Moon and Secure Team 10 are the two biggest fake UFO channels on YouTube or on the internet. But I suppose Tyler, who runs Secure Team, has said that he's trying to do things better now, which is very familiar to me because that's what the Third Phase boys say. But I haven't looked into Tyler lately. But the Third Phase boys said, oh, no, we only fake things when we started this. You know, now we don't fake anything. We're doing this the right way. And then we caught him faking things 4 times. And by the way, there's another show host who's an ass licker of Third Phase, an employee, who just lied to his audience again, saying I said things I never said. These fraud channels love to put somebody out there to put words in my mouth. And I always challenge them. If you're a show host and you're going to tell your audience that I said something, then play the clip, bitch. But they don't, because they like to make things up and put words in my mouth and say I said things. And sure, I've said many disparaging things about Third Phase because they peddle garbage. But I didn't say the things that show host claimed that I said. And again, that's one of those things I can't control. I can't control people that are willing to lie about me, to try to disparage me, damage my reputation, whatever. You know, getting that like Zen moment going of just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it all go. Right? That's where I'm trying to get to. Anything I can't control, I'm just letting it all go. And I really am developing the wisdom to know. You do have to develop that. Like, what can I change? You know, can you change people being willing to lie about you to tarnish your reputation or to make you look like a bad guy? No, you can't change that people are willing to lie through their teeth. So let it go. Yeah. Arlene Atkins said, mods are so fast. I missed the porn bots. I really hope to check one out. Joking. Oh, Arlene Atkins is a wild girl, right? All right. World and Chaos. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Yes. Space exposure. How do you think disclosure will happen? Civilian government ETs themselves. Well, if I had to guess, I think that the best actual chance for disclosure is a whistleblower from the black world private sector where these things are stored, studied, and hidden. In other words, with respect to anybody who thinks that Lou Elizondo is some big Pentagon whistleblower, they don't know. There are many, many people in government that do not know where I believe the crash retrievals are taken or really studied, back engineered, redeveloped. I've heard it called the UFO redevelopment plan. If you have this secret technology, perhaps you would try to back engineer it and get things out of it, like, advances in communications, advances in energy, advances in propulsion. I think for disclosure to really happen, somebody from that black world has to come out with smoking gun evidence and proof that they're hiding crash retrievals or whatever it may be, alien technology, right? Oh, Mysterious Moonbasis says he goes by Wilcock. I remember it being Wilcox. Maybe he changed it so people can't clown him. No, it's always been Wilcock, as in cock. Yes. Oh, UFO John Doe is here. Kind of generous. $4.99. Would you do a show on aerial school? Do you think it's spooky? Yes. I'm going to make a note too. And by the way, show requests. If you guys have any suggestions for topics or shows that you want me to research or cover, I'm all ears. We're all chips in here. We aim to please. I would be more than happy to help to do a show that somebody requests, because it's probably on my list. But generally what I do, UFO John Doe, is when people start asking me, I take the list and I put that topic, like you're asking about area school, higher on the list. We're going to move UFO John Doe. We will move Ariel right to the top. I have 3 or 4 shows already in queue, but that will be the next one. I promise. UFO John Doe, longtime show supporter. Thank you for your constant kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. Lord Ludicrous Plaid, John McAfee's girlfriend claimed he is alive and in Texas. Yes, I have heard that. Somebody sent me the news article earlier. I think it was Spooky actually sent me the news article earlier. I highly doubt that. I don't know. I just don't think that story is true for multiple reasons. But I was kind of a fan of John McAfee. I interviewed him only one time, but then some of you are aware John McAfee just started calling me at random late night hours from a satellite phone, often drunk or high, to talk about a lot of weird shit. And I don't know why, but I was sort of fascinated by this billionaire just calling me out of the blue, or one-time billionaire. I think by then he's lost a lot of his fortune. But anyway, John McAfee would just call me out of the blue. And usually it was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And he also had this weird habit of, like, if I didn't answer the phone, he would just keep ringing it and ringing it. Like, he would ring the phone. He would call me 10 times. It was weird. But I don't know, having talked to him and gotten to know him a little bit, I really liked him. And I'm sad for his passing. And I, for one, would be extremely happy to find out that he did fake his own death and he was living in Texas. Now, do I think that's something that John McAfee would do? Yeah, I kind of do. But do I think it's true? I would say no. I wish that it was true, and I hope it is, but I don't think so. I did read the article, not sure. There's no evidence other than this girlfriend's word, really. But hey, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope John McAfee is drinking a bottle of wine in Texas tonight and doing an 8-ball of Coke, because those are 2 things he loved, that and women, and buttholes of women, apparently, was his rest in peace, John McAfee, wild man. I miss him. I miss him a lot. And I have to tell you, too, that every time my phone rings at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning now, I think of him. Doesn't happen often, but every time it does, I think of him. And my first thought is, what if it is him? And he was big into conspiracies as well. Yes, there is a lot of fake John McAfee accounts out there, Lord Ludicrous. Some of you may remember that he had several body doubles that looked just like him. And one of his body doubles once got arrested, and it was inaccurately reported that he got arrested when it was, in fact, one of his twins almost, right? All right, trying to get caught up here. If you scroll back when you're trying to bring up the moderator menu, it won't jump on you. Okay. Space Exposure says these whistleblowers will definitely need to have some evidence or seriously credible info. Yes, and they have to be credible people. They will not be able to, convince anybody if there's somebody with a checkered history or fake education like Bob Lazar. They have to be rock solid people with rock solid backgrounds and rock solid evidence in order for people to believe them. Yeah, Pix. I've always told this person this. Go do a show better than me. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're an expert. And by the way, while I'm fine with criticism, if it's just nasty attacks, so a person in the live chat is saying, I want to criticize everyone for grifting, which is his grift. He's running a game like all the rest. Yeah. Show me where I've lied to anyone, Pix. Show me where I've used fake evidence to make money, Pix. Show me where I've hurt any of my audience members or listeners or taken advantage of anyone or made false claims. You can't. So comparing me to all the grifters is apples and oranges. And this person, Pix, is just butthurt. He's just butthurt. Maybe you, Pix, need to learn to accept the things you can't change as well, right? Props is here, and TBF only the other day, he said you're one of the only other channels that speaks the truth. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, wait. Oh, you're talking about that guy. Yeah, he just badmouthed me today, Props. So, and I sort of said my piece. But if the guy's lying to his audience, telling them that I said things that I never said, I'm going to mention it, right? I'm not talking shit. I'm just correcting or pointing out the fact that he is telling his audience things that I've never said. But honestly, he's lazy, so he gets facts wrong constantly. He doesn't have facts. He doesn't have evidence. So he says things off the top of his head, and he never gets it quite right. If you're going to say I said something, then show a quote, play a clip of me saying it. That's all I'm asking for. Why won't he do that? Lazy? He can't? Or he's making up shit that I never said. Spooky says everyone should learn about T. Townsend Brown. I absolutely agree with that. Chris Johansson says, how about expose religion for the global hoax that it is? Sure. Yeah. Pix is still butthurt. Sorry you're so butthurt, Pix. I hope you get over it. I hope you realize there's more important things in life than busting my balls, because I'm not really the problem here. I've told many people, I'm not the problem in this thing, Pix. I'm the solution. Just giving you box, man. Trust me, dude. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. It's much, much appreciated. Yeah, and I tell everybody this, and actually I'm doing it much calmer. I used to yell and scream when people were really nasty or critical to me in the live chat. Now I say, hey, webcams aren't that expensive, neither are microphones. Go get yourself a webcam, a microphone, and some software. You could start a show tomorrow. Show me how it's done, right? But you'll find it's never, anyway. I'm accepting the things I can't change, and one thing I can't change is that you will never please all of the people all the time. All I can do is my best here, and I'm human. But I do stand by the fact that I've never lied to my audience, not intentionally. I've never presented false or fake information to my audience or research to my information to my audience, never intentionally. So for somebody to suggest that I'm some sort of con artist too, right? Right. Yeah. Listen, that's ridiculous, because if I wanted to just con people, I would be on the believer side and I would manufacture fake evidence. I used to do magic shows. You think I can't make a freaking fake alien or some UFOs? I used to do magic and illusion shows. You think I couldn't do that and make tons of money? If I was only here for money and I just wanted to con people, I would do that. Pix. I wouldn't do this. Thankless job. UFO John Doe with $1.99 came across any female Sasquatch this weekend. No, I did not, but I did come across a video of a female Sasquatch dancing, and I'm going to be playing it on our show because it's funny as shit, in a bikini and everything. John Griffith suggesting do another Avery Smith show. I think you mean Emery Smith. Goddamn, those are great. Yeah, put it on my list. We will do an Emery Smith update. I don't even know what he's been up to lately other than drinking himself into a coma every day, last I heard. And by the way, in full disclosure, I had a problem with alcohol. I wish Emery Smith will find his way into an AA meeting. If I lived near him, I would offer to take him myself. I hope that he gets the help for his apparent substance abuse issues and finds peace in his life and finds something better to do with his life other than lie to people about aliens to make money. Ludacris says I should do a series talking about the calls with John. Yeah, but I don't really want to do that because some of that was personal, and also he's dead, so he can't verify that anything that I would say is accurate, and I don't want to push that envelope, lest people like Pix there start accusing me of making up stories to make money or something. There's an invisible Stargate in my doorway, but it only transports you in and out of my house. Well, that is definitely weird. Mysterious Moon Bases. Did you ever see the ex-father-in-law Emery? Emery was with his 14 or 15-year-old daughter. Yes, points on the curve, but he has deleted his YouTube channel. The only remaining portions of his YouTube channel are on our channel because I used to play some of the things he was saying and comment. And there's several videos of Points on the Curve guy in a video with me here on our channel. Just search for Emery Smith. Do you think Elizondo will realize that suing people that disagree with him is a bad idea? Yeah, I think that has backfired on him tremendously because I have just heard yesterday from some people that were big Lou Elizondo supporters, and the email that I got simply read, "Maybe you were right about him, Stephen. That's a really nasty thing to do." Yeah. So is demonizing your once friend and show host who was your mouthpiece for months because he asked one question you didn't like. The ego on that guy must be very, very fragile. Right? Very, very fragile. Yeah, and listen, Chris Johansson, I acknowledge what you're reading or what you're writing there about another show host, but I'm not going to read it. And I would encourage you to use slightly better language or just say it a bit more respectfully. I'd rather people not slag other shows, even if they disagree with them or think they're, Picks what false information did I present? Show me. And again, things I can't change. I can't change people that are so intent on making me look bad that they're just going to make shit up. No, I didn't present any false information tonight. Burns Eye Mind's Eye, can I book you for my UFO show? But seriously, heck, we can make it go live and simultaneously if you want to. I can have you as a guest, but I'm not going to have time for a while to be guests on other people's show. I'll be lifting that moratorium sometime in September after my children go to school, so hit me up then. Patty, that is such a good idea that I'm not going to read it out loud, but I will acknowledge that is, I don't want to ruin it, audio podcast people. And by the way, now is a good time for me to remind you, if you're listening in the audio podcast world, we love and appreciate you there, but you're missing half the fun. So please do go on over to YouTube and click that search bar, the magnifying glass button, and just put Truth Seekers, one word, in the search bar. Look for me, the strange guy with the sunglasses. Go to our channel, smash the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and you too will know when we're doing a live taping for the Truth Seekers podcast. And you can come here and ask questions, be a part of the live chat. You can accuse me of things I didn't do, like this one guy in here tonight. You see, it's always fun here. Yeah. Somebody, and now he's complaining maybe that I didn't share something that he wrote, or I don't know. Picks his channel. This channel doesn't have any content. Well, he's an expert, though. He's an expert on content creation. So, yeah. And you know, it is what it is. I don't know what you wrote in caps, so you can write it again in caps, and I'll try to capture it. I said, no, I didn't say that he did. I said, did he? I asked a question. Rewind it. I did not say that he sicked anyone on Los Angeles. But it sure happened, didn't it? He sure didn't tell everybody to leave him alone. Did he? Does he have a responsibility with 100,000 Twitter followers to tell people not to harass people? That he has a disagreement? To tell people not to threaten, intimidate, dox people? What about my situation? I have no proof Lou Elizondo sicked those people on me either. But they did it in his name, and he knew about it and did nothing to correct the situation. He knew that people had threatened my wife and family by name. He knew that people had doxed me. He knew that people are sending me literal pictures of my house and threatening me. It was I let him know what happened on his Twitter. If he didn't read it, okay. Multiple people informed him what was happening with me. He didn't do anything. He didn't say anything. He didn't say that's too far. Don't do that in my name. Does he not have a responsibility to tell people not to harass people in his name? No. What did he do, Pix? Oh, he went on that show that did that to me show again right after that happened. And in my opinion, and I'll freely admit it's speculation, he did that to reward them for what they did to me. You asshole. All right. Feeling better now. Maybe one of the things I can't change is sometimes you just have to call a spade, right? It's not good to think one thing like this guy's an a-hole and say another thing. So, Mysterious Moonbase is wondering why Points on the Curve took his channel down. I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with his with his spreading medical disinformation, but it's a tragic story, actually. For those that don't know, that guy's wife got shot in one of the mass shootings out there in the Midwest. Welcome to the show is here. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the show. Good to see you. Question. Hi, Stephen. What do you think that secret NASA plane was doing up in space for months at a time? I think that it is servicing spy satellites. That's what my best guess is based on all available evidence, which is pretty scant, right? Pix, I'm going to tell you this one last time. If you're just going to come here and be nasty, then we will start blocking people. How about that? How about that? My one rule is be respectful. You have done nothing for 2 hours but hurl insults at me in my live chat, right? Does this make your day? You feel better about yourself, little man? You bitter, angry little nothing of a man. You feel better now, right? You get it out of your system, right? What happens when the show ends? You play it back and jerk off like, oh, go. Do you bust a nut going, oh yeah, I really got to him. I really got to that guy today. Oh, is that what you do, Pix? When I should mention that, I'm not a trained journalist, but I am sort of retraining myself to say things like, in my opinion. And I usually do. I've all heard me again. I'm sure people can pull 100 examples of me saying, I will freely admit this is speculation, but it's informed speculation or whatever. Yeah. World in Chaos says, I see Lou smeared in butter and glitter using the surname Pix. Yes. David Bucky, Pix does this to all the debunkers. He's a child of God and can have his opinions even if they are wrong. Well, Pix has been doing this to me for so long. By the way, Pix, I'm going to remind some people of something. When I was live on the air telling everybody that TTSA was a techno scam in 2016, you were arguing with me, telling me how wrong I was. When I was talking about David Wilcox scamming people with GoFundMe scams, you were arguing with me, right? You're always arguing with me. And it's been a while, and now I've been proven right about so many things that you've argued with me for. Have you ever apologized for the times that you argued with me when I was right? Of course not. Of course not, because you're not a real man. You can't acknowledge that I was right about many, many things. We have an 8-year track record of getting the story right. Show me, Pix. Show me where we've gotten the story wrong. He can't. But he's still going to cry and complain, and that's fine. That's his right. We welcome everybody. He can come here and cry if he wants. I guess Pix just needs a place to come and cry. Ufology feels itchy and scratchy right now. Yes, it does. Oh, and I will say one last thing before I sort of erase Pix from my view, rear view, dude. That's where you belong. You belong in my rear view, mirror. And ask anybody that knows me, once I put people there, you're dead to me. You're invisible to me. That's where you belong because you serve no purpose to me. You don't offer any constructive thing. You don't, no. But I will tell you this one last thing. If you want to argue with me, then argue with me. Don't go after Spooky on Twitter like a little bitch. Don't do that. Oh, Spooky, you work for him and you... Don't be a bitch. You don't want to argue with me, with Spooky. Spooky didn't do nothing to you. Spooky makes graphics, and I tell Spooky what to make. Nothing here is Spooky's fault that you're pissed off about. Don't mess with Spooky. She's just doing her job, making graphics, and you're harassing Spooky on Twitter for like this big long thread of you bitching and crying. Come on, dude, get over it. Come please there with the kind and generous 2 pounds. Ufology feels itchy and scratchy right now. Yeah, it feels kind of dirty, doesn't it? It feels kind of dirty. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Yeah, Burns Eye, here's one thing I'll say. You can definitely come on my show again if you get John Hutchinson to come on with you. I don't know how you pulled that off. I never thought to just email the guy. But does he have to come on and drag? Because that kind of kills the science for me. And I have no problem with guys in drag, but it's distracting, when he's talking about science stuff. Big fan and believer in his crystal. Yeah. Okay. Pictures. Again, I'm going to tell you this. Go start your own channel with evidence then. Go ahead. I can't wait. I think you told me you had all this broadcast experience. Why aren't you doing better than me then? Instead of running a show yourself, you're going in shows and crying. Congratulations, and a child of God. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Good luck to you. But again, one of those things I can't control. I have Kevin Day from USS Nimitz states, Lou Alzano is a complete 100% agent of the government to the point of listing undercover agents to Kevin. Send me a timestamp and the video link, please. Yeah. I can't believe he's still crying. 2 hours of crying. Like I'm gonna pray for him. That's what I'm gonna do. And I apologize for calling him an asshole. But I'm human. So I apologize. Good luck to you. That's all I can tell you. I'm sorry you're so for a guy that hates me so much and is so unhappy, this guy listens to and watches everything I do and has for years and years and years and years and years. But I'm the devil to him, which is bizarro to me. Like, if you hated a guy that much, why would you spend so much time in his live chat and listen to everything? It doesn't make any sense. Gabbard Beast TV says, I loved your story on Dr. Jonathan Reed. Remember reading this story decades ago and never really believed it. It was fantastic to see his terrible fake videos. Great work, Stephen. Well, thank you for your kindness and your kind comments. Much, much appreciated. Comp Lizer with a kind generous £2, 2 more bucks against itchy, scratchy goofballs disease. Well, I don't know if you're aware. Oh, you know what? We're gonna do it. I don't think I'll get we're gonna cite fair use, but the Basement Office, the second episode, or the next one, the second one on Skinwalker is coming out, I think Thursday, and we want to support him. Even though, hey, here's a perfect example of why I don't live in a bubble, and you shouldn't. Stephen Greenstreet and I probably disagree on many things concerning Nick Pope, but I agree with him on 99% of other stuff. So, I can set aside my differences with him about those little things because largely I agree with him, and I think that he's tremendously talented. Like his work. I wish I could edit like that guy. So we're going to play you a... oh, no, I got the wrong one. There will be dino beavers. That's what he promises about the... There will be dino beavers. How can you not tune in when there's going to be dino beavers? I love this. So this is Stephen Greenstreet on Twitter. Oh, let me do that again. I always do this, friends. I suck as a show host. Let's make sure we share the audio because it's kind of nonsensical without that. And this is fair use. This is a transformative work. We're actually helping him to promote his new episode of The Basement Office. So I hope he doesn't mind us playing it, but we're going to cite fair use anyway. We're educating the public about this new information that he'll soon be dropping about Skinwalker Ranch. And this is something that I just found incredibly interesting, and that is there's a new disease. Newsflash, there's a new disease that you may never have heard of, and wait till you hear who is spreading the disease, friends. Let's get into it.
An official government program went to a spooky ranch to investigate werewolves, UFOs, ghosts. Government officials who ran the program claim a disease transmitted from ghosts is spreading across the nation. But is any of this actually true? Welcome to the Basement Office.
The Dino Beaver! I love it. The Dino Beaver. I'm kind of jealous. Like, come on. Well, Spooky, are you still here? We need a Dino Beaver. How are we supposed to compete with that guy? He's got his own Dino Beaver, animations. I don't know how I'm supposed to compete with a guy. Well, he's got the New York Post, I guess he's got a budget. That must be nice. I don't know what that's like, And by the way, we do have a budget, but it's very, very low, and that's because of the kindness and generosity of all you supporters of us. So I'm certainly not complaining, but I'd love to have his budget and time, Like, what if I had 3 months to do one 25-minute episode, right? I think it would be pretty good. But we're here in the live stream sphere of doing things, though I am enjoying a lot more video editing lately. Was Lou employed as a dino beaver for some month? I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people think that that whole Skinwalker thing is one big psyop to test people's, reaction to weird things. Maybe, I don't know. Skinwalker is for first timers and children. I mean, I like the stories. Like George Knapp tells some funny stories about Skinwalker. It's just kind of comical. Like Stephen Greenstreet posted that George Knapp was telling this story about these two guys, these cops near Skinwalker Ranch, and they see these two figures leaning against a tree smoking cigarettes with trench coats on, and they get out of the car and they're like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And they were dogs smoking cigarettes. Like, you can't even make this shit up, right? You cannot even make this stuff up. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. World in Chaos 76. I called my ex Dino Beaver. I'm sure she's available for work. Oh, World in Chaos 76. That's interesting. Very possible in a world of sorcery, says Joe 5D. You mean you can sorcerer up yourself some dogs that smoke cigarettes and wear trench coats with sorcery? You can conjure something like that up, Joe 5D? Do you really believe that? I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. The Sixth Sense reminding people, please use caps for comments and questions if you want to see. Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. Patty Wilhelm says, I wasted my tax dollars. No, they wasted all of our tax dollars, $22 million on this garbage. That's what we got for our $22 million. We got reports on dino beavers and werewolves, poltergeists, and some UFOs as well. Bernie is giving me that YouTube link, but give me the timestamp where he says that, if at all possible, please. Hey, Valacor is here. Welcome, Valacor. I remember you leaving me that very nice comment, and thank you for that. It's comments like that that make this worth doing for me, so I appreciate it. I was having a really bad day, and he sent a very nice comment my way. Valacor says, I totally believe something could be happening at Skinwalker Ranch, but their sensationalism is annoying. Well, we have talked about this time and time again here, Valacor. What you got to do, if you really want to make money at this thing, like all the profiteering hucksters, is you got to overpromise and then underdeliver. They all do it. They all overpromise and underdeliver it. We've seen a huge example of that last night. And tonight is, I guess, a better example of, like why it works. The con works because people are stuck in their bubbles and they're not allowed to criticize. But I agree with you. I'm real big on the fact that, like, if there's native legends about things, there's probably some truth to that. There's a nugget of truth in there, but certainly, yes, they do sensationalize anything. Do I think ufology can still be fixed? Yes. Here's how you fix it. You get rid of everybody that has been caught, let's be generous and say 3 times, selling fake stories. You forbid them from being involved with this anymore. And then that will make room for credible researchers, for good authors, for good investigators who won't lie to people or invent stories or invent fake evidence or invent fake sources. Get rid of the hucksters. The UFO profiteering hucksters should all be cut from this thing like a cancer. If that happened tomorrow, everything would improve because none of us would waste hundreds of hours on disinformation any longer. Betty Double Kick Chick is here and says, perhaps my dream about zombies created from the virus mutating the other night was a premonition. Yeah, apparently, Betty Double Kick Chick. And by the way, I love that. I love that name. What does that mean, Double Kick Chick? Are you like a karate chick? You going to karate my ass? That would be scary. I'm scared of women that can fight. Ask my wife. She's kind of tough. She punches like a man, too, Betty Double Kick Chick. You ever know a woman that could just punch like a man? She can punch like a man. Complizard is asking, could the smoking gun be smoking dogs? By the way, We want to thank Complizer for being a channel member. You can see they got that little badge identifying them as a channel member, and you too can join and help our show. There's a join button here now. We appreciate all of you members. Stephen, what's your personal thoughts on ghosts? I think that there are times and places, David Bucky, where the veils between the world of the living and the land of the dead become very, very thin. And in those places, times, and certain circumstances, I do believe that ghosts are not only possible, but probable. And I would certainly like to believe in life after death. And in fact, maybe it's my Catholic brainwashing, but I kind of feel like I don't have the capability of comprehending just dying and there's nothing. I can't comprehend that. I can't accept it as a possibility. I know it is a possibility, but I can't get my brain around it because of years and years of scripture study and heaven and hell and hearing about the afterlife from priests and how you got to be good in this world so that you can get to heaven. And I believe there is got to be life after death. And if there's not, that's a huge waste of all those people's memories, thoughts, talents, passions, and abilities. Think about all of the intelligent people, like Einstein. Is his genius intellect just lost to the universe now, or did it go somewhere? I hope it went somewhere. I hope ghosts are real. I hope that the afterlife is real. Davina saying, let's interview an elder about some stories, a native elder. Yeah, I would like that. Clifford Mahoney was on my list, and he sadly passed away. But maybe we can do that. I'm aware of a Native American woman who wrote a book on the Star People, which is the Native American legends of people who came from the stars. And it's a great book. Maybe I'll try to see. I'm going to make notes. See what we're doing. We're doing audience participation tonight. And we're taking requests. So I'm saying Native Star People book. I don't recall the author or the name of the book off the top of my head, but I'll check in my bookshelf later, Davina. And I'd be more than willing to do that. So the dog smoking and playing cards was a real event that was just painted. Yeah, apparently that's the truth. Update on the co-host. Thank you, UFO John Doe, for your kindness, but I'm not sure what you mean. Update on the co-host. Do you mean the co-host of the show that was talking shit about me? Because that's some stuff too. But yeah, we may leave that for another time. Richard Mad is here and says, Pix, you still here? You must want help to get out of that cult you in. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's why he's here. He wants to be deprogrammed. And UFO John Doe, just put it in all caps. You don't have to send another super chat, but let me know exactly what you mean by this comment, because I don't want to go off on something that you're not really asking about. I'm a little confused by the comment, right? 6 Sense reminding everybody to support Truth Seekers producer, Spooky. You can follow Spooky on Twitter and also subscribe to Spooky's channel. That one time I was abducted by aliens. The description is in the link is in the description of this video. Betty Double Kick Chick says, it just had major deja vu. Oh, that's interesting. You ever get that? Yeah, deja vu is a weird feeling. And you know what is really weird is when it lingers, like when you get that deja vu feeling, then it goes away, and then a few seconds later it just keeps coming back, and you're like, what is happening? I kind of like that feeling of deja vu. Some people think that is the veils of perception, or time intersecting somehow is what causes deja vu. Maybe something with our consciousness, right? Interesting, right? Burnseye Mind's Eyes crying about losing his moderator wrenches. Yes, we removed almost everybody. I think the only people that remain are very few people. There's only like 5 now. There used to be 150 of you moderator wrenches. Oh no, it wasn't. No, you misheard me. No, I was. It was an important call from a source that I thought this is a big. That source, when they call me, it's a huge story. So that's what I was talking about. But thank you for your kindness and generosity and always support of the show. We much appreciate it. So we're just over 2 hours, friends. We're going to wrap things up here. That's all I got for you tonight. But tomorrow we'll be back 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will have some special surprises for you tomorrow night. So 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. We welcome believers, skeptics, harsh critics of my show skills and everything I do here, like Pix is welcome to come back. Maybe we'll get a cult deprogrammer as a guest to help Pix so that he can start, thinking for himself and get out of the bubble. And by the way, while we're on the subject, I meant what I said earlier today. I am worried about some people in a bubble. In this bubble, I don't think it's healthy for many people. After all, we have seen examples of people literally murdering somebody when they get too far down the rabbit hole and stay too long in this bubble. So I would encourage you, get out of the bubble, get off the internet, go outside, do something in the real world, and be sure to be willing to accept that the bubble is an escape, but it's not real. You really have to focus on things in the real world. But it's easy to see how some people get stuck in the bubble. It's so warm. It's comforting here, right? It's better than reality. And we can see these people LARPing, There's people who truly believe that they're warriors for disclosure. So somehow running around doxing and threatening critics of a certain UFO cult leader is a divine mission for them. That's the kind of bubbles that people are in. They truly believe that, some of these people, right? Yeah. Joe 5D says, I'm in a bubble of unhealthy skepticism. Well, maybe I'm bitter and jaded, having been lied to and so many different times. So, it is what it is. But I am always willing to listen to somebody. Some of you know this, but I used to never want to talk to experiencers, and lately I have. In the past couple of years, we've talked to many experiencers, both here, publicly on the show, and privately. I have an open mind, but I like things like evidence and facts to go with my stories from people. If they're just telling a story and they don't have anything, I kind of lose interest, right? I definitely kind of lose interest, right? But yeah, I'll make a note to be a little more balanced then. If I'm certain people think I'm too skeptical. But I think that skepticism is a healthy thing. You should never just, especially here, don't just accept what people say. I don't care what they say. If it's about their education, their work history, where they worked at, whatever, their military experience, don't accept anything that people tell you as factual until you've checked yourself. I made that mistake myself. I can remember, and I laugh about it now, but I used to think that when you heard somebody speaking at a UFO conference and they said that they were in the military, that the people that run the conference checked and they really were in the military and they're telling the truth because we're here for the truth about UFOs. No, they book liars all the time with fake educations, fake military experience, fake work histories. They don't care as long as the people put butts in the seats. So I think you got to be healthy skepticism, though, right? And keep an open mind. I'm an open-minded skeptic. I would love to find proof of alien life. I would love to find proof of psychic powers, ghosts, Bigfoot, and everything else that would make life certainly more interesting. But my study of all these things has caused me to be very, very cautious about things that people say. And you can't blame me for that. An awful lot of liars. Isn't there? Isn't there an awful lot of liars in this thing? All right. 1 second here. What just happened? Oh, okay. Got it. Sorry. All right. So, look, that's all I got for you, friends. And what I would say about the censorship, I would caution you. If somebody doesn't want you asking questions, there's a reason for that. If somebody doesn't want to allow people to ask questions, there's a reason for that. If somebody doesn't take any criticism, there's a reason for that. You see, tonight, I just let a guy slag me for 2 hours straight in our live chat. That's how open to criticism I am. I'll at least let people say their piece. Whether I disagree with them or not, I still give people the ability to do that. We will never censor people just asking questions or offering their opinion or comments about what we're talking about here. We will never do that. We will never become a bubble here, or certainly never become an echo chamber. You're free to talk to whoever you want. I give you permission. Unlike these UFO cult leaders, you have my permission to watch whoever you want, to listen to whoever you want, to socialize with whoever you want, hang out with whoever you want, talk to whoever you want. I don't need to control or manipulate you because I don't have a nefarious agenda here. So that's all we got for you, friends. Until next time, friends, I'm Stephen Cambion, reminding you that the only people who fear questions or won't allow people to ask questions are the people with something to hide. Good night, and God bless all of you. Even you, Pix. I hope that you find some kind of peace, find a hobby, find something better to do. But if you had fun tonight slagging me for 2 hours straight in the live chat, thank you for being a demonstration of our willingness to let people ask questions, have their own opinions, disagree with me. That's the perfect example of it. Good night, and God bless all of you.